Welcome to the Holistic Success Show. I'm Elizabeth Lozano.
And I'm Dr. Robert Puff. Today we're going to have a guest who's an expert on how to keep our skin healthy holistically.
Dr. Puff is going to be talking to us about the benefits of prevention versus the cost of disease, as well as insecurities and how to overcome them.
And a question from you about how can I be a wonderful single parent?
We'll also be answering another question about a raw food diet. Thank you so much for joining us, and we hope you enjoy the show.
Being holistically healthy is expensive. It costs money to get organic over just regular fruits and vegetables. It costs money to go to the gym and work out. It costs money to go to get massages, acupuncture, all these variety of choices that we have to be healthy. It does cost sometimes a little bit of money, sometimes quite a bit of money to be holistically healthy, to take care of yourself in very preventative ways. However, it also costs a lot to be ill. Even in other countries where they may pay for the insurance and it's free in a sense, the government pays for it, you have to wait a long time before you can have your surgery. And some countries, if you reach a certain age, they won't even allow you to have it unless you pay for it yourself. And here in the US, we have what's called co-payments, and they go up and up and up in order to keep costs down. And so even though, yes, it pays for part of it, you still have to pay the co-payments. Because recently I had myself, it was a minor surgery, but the co-payments were like staggering because it was a way to keep our expenses down, but we had to pay these co-payments. It wasn't a big deal, but it was a big deal in the expense part. So I think what's important is to say, yes, it's going to cost me money to get these fruits and vegetables organic over regular, or even eating fruits and vegetables over maybe something else that isn't as healthy for you. Because often the cheapest food isn't the healthiest. And same way, you may have to spend a little bit more to get more healthy deodorants and clothing, things that are just good for you, that keep you healthy, keep you fit, keep you from getting toxins in your body. And though that costs money, and it even costs your time, like exercising costs time, working out, doing things that take care of your body, of course they do take your time and energy. But not doing that has a lot of cost to it too. So it's like a balance here. On this side, there's all these preventative things you can do, holistically healthy things you can do that are very good for you and make you feel good. And you have, after you have the disease, all the things you have to do. I mean, pharmaceutical companies, when they give you pills that will help you, and they're good about that, but because they spend a lot of money researching that and finding out the cure for that disease, they have to pass that price tag on to you. So they're very expensive. It can be hundreds of dollars for your monthly medical pills that you have to take to be well. So what's better, I believe, is prevention. And this show is all about prevention, how you can be healthy today and stay healthy and fit in very natural ways that don't have side effects, that keep you staying well. And taking that time to be well has so many benefits to it. You get healthier, you stay healthy, and as you age, as we all age, there will be knocks and bumps and bruises, but they're far less and they're not as pervasive. So even if there isn't the medical expense to it, let's say money doesn't matter to you, or you have enough money, you don't worry about that, then you have to deal with the physical effects of illness. They're hard on you. They take away from your joie de vivre, your joy of life. And if you take the time to eat right, to exercise, the things you so often hear on this show, to rest, to all these preventative things you can do. Getting a massage. Massage costs money, but it's very good for you. We're going to have an expert on talking about that, and we'll have people talking about all these different things that you can do to prevent yourself to keep yourself healthy. And yes, it does cost money, and it often costs a little bit more money than it is one to do nothing, like getting a massage, not getting a massage. Getting a massage costs money. But also just getting an organic apple. I get organic apples and oranges and fruits and vegetables. It costs me a little bit of money for that. But the benefits I get from that and that we can get from that, I believe, and hopefully you can share with your thoughts on this too, we believe that it can really be worth that investment. So invest in yourself, invest in your health, and be well. Peace.
Our first question this week is from Grace in the Philippines. I'm a single parent who works full-time and has 2 kids. My 13-year-old daughter is still in the 3rd grade due to learning disabilities and behavioral problems. Most of the time I'm very tired and don't give them the attention they desire. I'm trying my best to handle the situation, but I'm feeling frustrated, exhausted, and overwhelmed. What can I do to help my kids and my situation?
Grace, there's many things you can do to improve what's happening in your life right now. Let me give you some ideas. One would be ask for help. I hope you have people in your life that could say, we love you, Grace, and we know it's very difficult. So if you have family members or friends saying, Grace, we can watch the kids at this time, we can give you a break here, take their help. Let them help you. Let them love you. And then when they give you that time, go do things for yourself. Do things that fill yourself back up. Because the reality is that your situation is very difficult. Single parenting, I believe, is one of the most challenging jobs on the planet. So how we handle challenging jobs very well is by self-care. And there's only so much you're going to get. So when you get that self-care, don't go run errands, don't clean up, don't do chores. Do things that fill yourself back up. And then the second thing I think you can do is, I love meditation. I think meditation 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes a day has an incredible way of rejuvenating and filling your cup back up. So listen to our podcast about meditation. It's free. And learn to meditate, because I really think it's one of the best ways to fill yourself up when you're feeling empty.
And Grace, I know that your daughter is struggling. She's behind academically because of behavioral and learning disabilities. And what we have found a lot of times in children, the behavioral stuff that comes out from them sometimes has a lot to do with what's going on at home. So if you're not having a lot of time to spend with your daughter, or you're really frustrated because you're working so much, that's kind of something to look at as well. And I know it's hard at the end of the day to come and play with your daughter, but there's a lot to learn from your daughter. Kids are pretty amazing and pretty resilient because they're able to get out their stresses through their play. Remember what it was like to be a kid and you're upset about something and you go out and you play and you're screaming, or you get out that energy and it feels really good. And if you were to do something like that with your daughter and play games with her and have fun with her, that's going to lift you up as well. And I also agree with Dr. Puff in regards to making sure you have some downtime for yourself. So if some family members or friends might be able to help you out by watching your kids or doing something like that, don't just use that time to clean or run errands. That's really important. Take that time to take care of you. Take a hot bath or a hot shower, maybe go for a walk. And by the way, exercise is a great thing that you can also share with your daughter too.
And Grace, the message that we're both giving you is love Grace, take care of Grace, and love your daughter. Mm-hmm. You can do both and, but love Grace. Grace, I think, needs some affection, needs some time for herself. Give yourself that, and that will help you love your daughter better.
Thank you so much for your question, and we wish you all the best. I'd like to welcome Dr. Julia Tatum Hunter to the show. She's a dermatologist and founder of Skin Fitness Plus, which is located in Beverly Hills, California. She creates healthy bodies and healthy, beautiful skin using holistic dermatology. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm delighted to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So can you share with us what holistic dermatology means?
Well, holistic dermatology means that you look at the body as a whole. The skin is basically a window to what's going on the inside. And so if you don't look at what is causing the problem internally, then you can't cure the problem. You just end up treating the symptoms in perpetuity.
I find that that's a lot. In a lot of fields, they just treat the symptoms and not the problems. It's really interesting to see your spin on it with the dermatology field.
Right. Well, traditionally in dermatology, when you come in with a rash, people just treat whatever the rash is, and they never ask the why question. Why do you have that? And if you don't ask the why question and find out what the problem is, then you'll never find the cause. And so you'll cure people for a little while if you just put something on the skin, but then it comes back and it comes back. And so I'm trying to cure people rather than just seeing them in perpetuity.
I like that. That's very beautiful that you do that. That's wonderful.
Thank you.
So can you tell us about Skin Fitness Plus and what that is and why you started the company?
Skin Fitness Plus, basically, I started out as an anesthesiologist, and then I went back and retrained as a dermatologist because I knew that it would give me the opportunity to treat the body as a whole. As an anesthesiologist, what I saw is that we really needed to prevent everything that I was treating. And ultimately, I was working with plastic surgeons, and even more so, I saw that we really needed to prevent the problems that people saw or thought that they had that led them to be operated on. So I started Skin Fitness Plus because I knew that if you treated the body as a whole, I could make the body work at a more youthful level, I could slow down the ticking of the clock, and the side effect of creating beauty would be creating health.
So how do you create health?
Well, creating health is, again, dealing with all the pieces of the body's puzzle. It starts with you are what you eat, and that's very important. The second thing is you have to exercise, because in order to replenish the adrenals, you have to move in order to make adrenaline and for all the adrenal hormones to be created. Very important for energy, the body to function. You've got to deal with the thyroid gland. You have to deal with your hormones, because your hormones starting about age 27 start to go downhill. And as that happens, your brain, your mood, your energy, the way you feel, your focus, everything starts to get not quite as good as it was. So my goal is to keep the body functioning at the most youthful level. So you are what you eat, exercise, hormones, and then you deal with the outside after you've treated the inside and got it functioning at the most youthful level.
So I know you were talking about after about age 27, your hormones start to, go down on the decline. So
Right.
how does one affect their hormone levels?
Well, first of all, in men and in women, because men go through menopause and their hormones go down equally, as do women.
Wait, did you just say that men go through menopause?
Absolutely, they
I
go through
never knew that.
menopause. That's why men, as their testosterone decreases, they get testy, thus sort of referring back to their testosterone getting low. You start to see them have a bigger stomach. They get hard to live with. They get depressed. They have the well-known erection problems, the sexuality issues, and it's all due to hormones, mood, depression, anxiety in men and women. So the first thing you do in order to treat the hormones is exercise, because
We talk a lot about that. That's a big one.
Right. And exercise basically, number one, increases your growth hormone, very important for your immune system, for your mood, for everything to function at a youthful level, your brain. Then, again, what you eat, if you're eating a lot of sugars, if you're eating a lot of things that increase insulin, you cause hypoglycemia, you cause an overgrowth of fungus in the body. So again, you are what you eat. And then ultimately you have to treat the hormones, because it's end organ failure. And when you have end organ failure, you've got to treat them, but you've got to treat them correctly. And one of the first hormones that go, and there's an epidemic even in young people of low thyroid. So very important. Acne, all caused by the hormones. So that's why you have to deal with the body as a whole.
So can you test somebody's hormone levels? And how do you do that?
Absolutely, and I do that in young people as well as in older people. And increasingly, I find that I have parents that come to me and I end up treating their children because they've got the same symptoms that the parents do. What I do as far as treating them, a couple of things. Certainly there's blood work, but blood work is simply a snapshot of what the cargo is going down the highway at the moment that the blood was drawn from the body. So there are other tools that are available. One of the ones that I use in my office is a biomeridian machine, which looks at the cellular level. What are the cells seeing on a regular basis as far as hormone levels? So you've got to, again, integrate all the data. And most importantly, people have to fill out a clinical symptom sheet, because do I treat the blood work or do I treat the patient? I treat the patient's clinical symptoms, because if not, the patient doesn't get better and I, as a physician, are supposed to make you better.
Yeah. So what are the hormones? What are typically the hormones that you address, and how do you address those hormone issues? I mean, I know you do the testing, but where do you find the hormones to give somebody, or how does that work?
Well, the most important thing is, first of all, to see what the problems are. And here's some of the hormones that you ultimately have to treat. DHEA in men and women come out of the adrenal glands.
Okay.
Adrenaline from another part, the adrenal medulla, which people forget, and that's what gives us energy and endurance as the day goes by. Cortisol, all those things come out of the adrenals. Then in men and women, you've got to treat testosterone, men and women. Estrogen, men and women. Estrogen is what causes the prostate to enlarge as men get older and get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom. I mean, you see that now in 38, 40-year-old men because of what they're eating. So estrogen, progesterone. Progesterone is nature's tranquilizer. You can rub it on, and I have a lot of women who are rubbing it on their husbands when their husbands are hard to get along with as they get older. But women, progesterone is part of what low progesterone causes PMS, menstrual problems. With acne, a lot of times you see the adrenal glands are inflamed because the thyroid's low. They're overgrown with fungus because they're eating all the carbs and sweets and things that make you fat and really cause disease, depress your immune system.
So I know we've talked a little bit about exercise, which is something that you can do to basically change yourself in many ways, but to be beautiful and to be healthy. What about some foods that we can eat that can actually have an effect on our overall well-being and even our face and our skin?
Right, very important. One of my favorite subjects, because again, you are what you eat, and it all starts with how do you eat. So some of the things that I tell my patients are, number one is green, and more green. The more green, the better, because you're full of antioxidants with that. You're getting minerals, you're getting vitamins. Organic certainly is better. Kale, the darker the fruits and vegetables, the better. And with fruits, the more tart as well as dark, the better. So kale, arugula, spinach, broccoli. Now, eat right for your blood type enters into with people having a certain amount of low-grade food allergies that increase inflammation. So I'm a big proponent of eat right for your food type. There's also a diet that's called the Bali diet about how to eat. And what it means is that you avoid grains, corn.
What about French fries? Are those something you should probably avoid?
French fries.
Deep fried.
French fries. Well, potatoes basically increase your insulin, increase your blood sugar. The body
Just potatoes
takes
in general.
Sweet potatoes are a better choice. Dark Peruvian potatoes are a better choice. Eating raw to a certain extent is a better choice. There are certain foods that you eat raw that are very good for the body. There are other foods that if you eat raw, you're not able to extract all the enzymes and the fruits the vitamins and minerals that are in them. But let's go back to the fruits again. The darker the fruits, the more tart the fruits. Pomegranate, raspberries, blueberries. Some people are allergic to blackberries. Acai. Those are the things. And as far as I advise people, it's better to do wild rice and quinoa and some of the, if you're going to eat grains, but the more you eliminate grains, the more you eliminate sugars. And it's not that you can never eat those, but basically they increase your insulin, depress your immune system, and age you much more quickly because they increase inflammation. And inflammation is the cause of all disease and aging.
Wow. And if people can find out more about you and your wisdom that you have, how can they get a hold of you?
Well, my website, I have tried to make a fount of information, skinfitnessplus.com. I have a blog also, and so I'm constantly updating that information. I talk about what do you do to create beauty, what lasers, what skin products,
Which I
what
think
foods
is really
do you
great because
eat.
so many times people don't know, and there's all these new things coming out. So it's
Absolutely.
really great.
And hormones, we discuss all of that about why this versus that, what works and why, what's the best use of time and money as far as what achieves your goals, makes you feel good about yourself, makes you love yourself more, makes you happier, more beautiful, and healthier.
And what's that website so people can find it?
Skinfitnessplus.com.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for being a guest on our show.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Many people struggle with what I want to talk about right now, which is called insecurities. I would actually argue that almost everyone does, not everyone, but almost everyone has some form of insecurities about themselves and what people think about them. It's very normal. And why? Why do we have that? Where do they come from? It's really a combination of events that happen to us, negative events that hurt us. People, it could be a father, it could be a boyfriend, it could be kids at school, or teased. People hurt us. So when they hurt us, we say, wow, they hurt me. I wonder if I deserve that. And it makes us feel insecure. And so that's where the second part of insecurities come from. They come from us basically rehearsing those experiences, rehearsing those thoughts, saying, wow, I wonder what people are going to think about me, or, oh, I don't know if I'm doing a very good job, or, just things that are very normal. It's not anything bad, but what I like to do is help give you, all of us, tools to overcome insecurities, because they really can be overcome. And I think the first and most important thing is to use gentle kindness. When you are feeling a little bit insecure, you don't think, does my hair look good, or, am I feeling good about myself? Is it a bad, are my clothes, messy, or do people gonna like me? Be gentle about that. Say, I am feeling insecure right now. That's okay. There's a reason for that, because this happened in my past, or, I have these talks that I'm really working on. So I'm going to first gently say, it's okay. And then the next thing you do is you start surrounding yourself with loving people. And the most important loving person is yourself. So as you begin to be aware of the insecurities that may be there, say, okay, of course I'm not perfect, but there are wonderful things about me. All of us have something beautiful inside of us. And I think if you realize that and focus your attention on that, then what you'll find is that insecurities will start dissipating, because as you start focusing in on the beautiful things about you, both externally or internally, no matter what you look like, no matter who you are, you then will start attracting and wanting to be around people who also see you that way. And if people around you see you as a wonderful, kind, beautiful person, then you will start incorporating that into yourself. And so when the normal insecurities come, you say, I know I'm feeling that way right now, but mostly all these people around me love me. I'm learning to love me too, so I can start letting them go and accept and love who I am. And then ultimately, if you want to actually take it to the farthest level you can, it's ultimately stopping to think so much about yourself and just be 100% present with whatever is happening right here, right now. And that means actually not thinking about yourself, whether they'll like you or whether they won't like you, whether you like it the way you look right now or don't. But in a sense, just be totally present. Silence the mind. Be totally present and silence the mind so you can be here right now. And then what happens is all those thoughts, all those worries dissipate like mist. And what arises in that silence, that lack of egoic mind chatter, is true security, peace, and beauty. Peace.
Our second question is from Teresa in Colorado. I've read where a raw food diet is healthier due to the vitamins, minerals, amino acids, and enzymes not breaking down during the cooking process. Does a raw food diet mean without cooking at all, or can a raw food diet be slightly cooked and still maintain its nutritional value?
But Teresa, I love this question because I am a raw foodist myself. About 80% of the food I eat is raw, and then at the end of the day I do allow a little bit of cooked food. And the magic number that you asked about is actually 120 degrees. If you think about yourself going into a sauna, you can go into a sauna about 120 degrees, but beyond that it will cook you in a sense. So when it's cooking you, or it's cooking your food, when you cook food beyond 120 degrees, it does start breaking down the vitamins and the minerals and all the enzymes, so they aren't available to you anymore. There are still carbs there, there are protein, depending on what kind of food you're eating, starches, but you will lose all kind of the healthy antioxidants that are there, all the wonderful nutritional value that is there. It's still good for you, but you lose all that. So in order for something to be considered raw, the key is 120 degrees. So you can, gently warm it up. You can heat it a little bit. But it's like, could I put my hand there? If you put your hand there, then you know you're not really hurting the food at all, because if it doesn't hurt your hand, it's not going to hurt you. So that's really the magic. And the beautiful thing about raw, I love being raw. Just there are so many benefits to it. And we're going to have guests on talking about it, and I will talk about it many, many times. It brings in all the vitamins, all the minerals, all the enzymes you talked about are still alive, available, and can keep you healthy. Now, one thing you have to be careful of is you can say, well, raw foods isn't very good, or I don't like it. So I like Elizabeth to talk about how can you find out about good raw food.
Yes, Dr. Pep, you're right. I once attended a class that was all about raw food cooking, and I couldn't even believe some of the combinations of food that they put together. And there's actually something that they use called a dehydrator, which is like something similar to making like jerky of sorts, and you can use that with fruits and vegetables as well. But I was quite amazed. And there might be some things you might not like, but there are other things. And I would suggest that you go get a cookbook, and like Dr. Puff had said, we will have guests on here that will be talking about different things that you can eat with raw food. So you're not just thinking all I can eat is an apple and a piece of celery, that's it. There's a lot more than that. So we encourage you to go out and seek all those things. There's lots of different resources for you to find some yummy new recipes.
And Teresa, one last thing that might keep you from going raw and eating more healthy raw foods is, again, like we said, the taste. But the good news is that as you start eating more raw fruits and vegetables, you want bright colors, green, as vibrant as possible. Organic's better than not, because it doesn't have the pesticides and there's more minerals available to you and antioxidants in organic. But what happens is you actually get used to it. So for me now, because I juice a lot and I do other things in salads, I eat a lot of raw, I am very used to it. It's as much as the first time you tried it, me like, ugh. Yeah, exactly. I think what happens to me now, eating regular creamy food is like, oh, to me. So you get used to whatever diet you do. So hang in there and try it. And what you'll find is your body gets used to it.
You'll really like it.
Yeah, and you will. I actually love it, and I love the way it feels. I immediately feel it, and it's really good for you. So great question, and best to you.
Thank you. Our quote this week is by Bobby McFerrin. In every life we have some trouble, but when you worry, you make it double. Don't worry, be happy. When you worry, you suffer so much more than is needed. So I think really the message here is be present and be still, because you will get past whatever it is you're going through. And remember, be happy. Thank you for joining us on the Holistic Success Show. If you didn't know, you can also catch our show as well as our Meditation for Health podcast on iTunes and our website.
And if you have a company who would like to sponsor our show, we'd love to have you be part of our show.
Thank you so much for joining us, and have a wonderful week.